What does it mean that drinking is harmful? Nonsense. In the magazine Healthy Life from '67, an associate professor, I forgot his name, writes, "Get drunk. It's beneficial."
We are in Bali, and today we will talk about an essential part of our life, physics. Although in Bali people talk about the soul, body and mind. And, as the local population and visitors here are convinced, it is deeply spiritual, an integral part of our life. But we want to talk about athletes, businessmen, and alcoholics.
Certainly, because they are present here.
Alcoholics are a very important part of our life.
Accordingly, we want to discuss these topics and listen to interesting stories. And here we have gathered the bright representatives of all these categories, especially the alcoholics.
A couple more haven't arrived yet. Wait.
Yes, we are waiting for the others to arrive so that we can deeply discuss and explore this topic with a Balinese accent. Alexander, as the main alcoholic, please tell us what role sports, alcohol, and business play in your life.
Good question. Thank you. As the main alcoholic who hasn't consumed alcohol for, I don't know, probably 10 years, but I can certainly share from my side how sports and business affect me.
No, alcohol affects you too, of course.
You don't consume it, but you come into contact with it indirectly.
I come into contact with it quite often. You often buy it, at the very least.
Sometimes you just smell it.
How is it doing without you? Well, sports as an experiment. That is, a year ago, I couldn't always manage to exercise every day. So it was all with varying success. You work out 2 or 3 times a week. Sometimes you skip. It all depends on work, on time, and so on. There you go. A little over 6 months ago, I started working out here in Bali every day. It also depends on willpower and procrastination. Yes, on willpower and procrastination. In general, about 6 months ago, I started exercising every day as a principle, except on weekends. Not a single day was missed. There you go. And I notice the following impact on myself, on my family relationships, on business.
I lost friends, and no one invites me anywhere. I've lost touch with everyone, sitting alone.
But I can do 10 pull-ups.
Subtitles made by Dimatozok Laughter. Much more energy, less fatigue. Tasks are actually solved more easily than when it happens without sports. So some negative moments, accordingly, are experienced completely differently. More correct conclusions are drawn. Nothing is imagined, nothing is exaggerated. Everything is perceived more as it is, as if, well, more as it is perceived than, for example, when there is no sports. That's it. And accordingly, sports leave an imprint on nutrition because you want it all to be worthwhile.
That is, when you eat before bed, you understand that tomorrow you will work it off.
Yes, exactly.
So, did you gain weight in 6 months?
Well, in general, for example, I started eating sweets, avoided the question, only on weekends. Well, with rare exceptions, like today, for example, we had some coffee. That's it. I think it's very beneficial. I believe it has a very positive effect. Well, it depends on the goal. I mean, I'm not into professional sports. I just...
Question, what is sport in general? So, where is that level? Where does activity, physical exercise end and sport begin? Or do we just call any activity sport? Terms and definitions. What is sport? That's what... Yes, I just wanted to talk about that now.
All right. But I believe that I'm just doing physical exercise. That is, I keep myself in shape so that I have energy and so that it is minimally harmful to my body. I don't lift any crazy weights, just a little bit, gradually, but in a way that's comfortable so that my joints don't hurt afterwards. So I'm not engaged in professional sports, it's just physical exercise, daily physical exercise. Oh, my shoulder. Oh, the ligaments are tearing. For me, this is...
And what is sports for you in general?
Sports? Well, for example, if I were to train to win a prize at a competition, I would specifically load my body, my muscles. Beyond measure for this. That is, it will already be...
No, well, it's about working towards the result that needs to be achieved.
Well, yes. That is no. There are different results. In physical education, my result is an increase in energy levels, an improvement in my health quality, and consequently, an improvement in my quality of life due to all of this. If you engage in professional sports, the goal is a bit different, in my opinion. It no longer aligns with improving personal health. It is solely about achieving a specific goal. For example, taking first place in some kettlebell competition, for instance. That's something entirely different. Mikhail, what does the term sport mean to you? Why do you engage in it? Why do you need it? How does it affect your life?
Well, I'm an elderly person, so for me it's more about activity to get the lymph and blood flowing. That's it. Because age takes its toll regardless. And if blood doesn't reach every corner of your body, those corners start to remind you of their presence, something like that.
Unpleasant, rather.
Yes, then you need to suppress them with something else. That's it. Which we also handle successfully, for example, at least with a bit of whiskey or some chair. So either, yes, you keep the blood flowing constantly, you run, train, swim. Well, in general, engage in some activities. And accordingly, in general, the feeling of a well-tuned mechanism. Yes, I partially agree with Sasha that it becomes easier in such an organism, like in a well-tuned machine, to act, go somewhere and achieve something. But sports, yes, you probably can't call it sports. Daily activity, yes, you can. I keep thinking to myself, I still can't find the formula for how often this needs to be done. Every day, morning, evening, or only in the morning? If in the morning, then how much? That is, you can, for example, train hard for 5 days. Sometimes 2 days aren't enough for rest. That is, if week after week, week after week, and for example, by the second month, the third, you just want to give yourself some rest, which leads to not training for a week or two. Everything hurts again. And you slide into some tasty food. Something like beer with fish, friends, dumplings. And basically, you realize that 2 or 3 months of cutting definition and a normal state can be completely ruined in 2 weeks. You just, return to the previous state. You might gain weight or add a layer of fat. What's so difficult about that?
A little belly.
Yes, exactly, a little belly. That's the most annoying thing. Exactly. So, finding this balance is, for me, one of the main tasks in working on myself, precisely balance. How much needs to be done to avoid slipping in either direction, not getting tired of activity, but at the same time staying motivated and engaged. So there's benefit in that, but restrictions, I'm all for reasonable sufficiency. I mean, I think a good whiskey should be part of a normal man's life.
And during the time you've been on Bali, by the way, how long have you been on Bali? More or less regularly? Is there a specific period of time?
More or less regularly. Today is the 16th, so it's been 2 years and 4 days.
Has your physical activity changed on this island? If it has changed, how and why?
Yes, it has changed because it's easier to exercise here, considering how life is organized here. Yes, there's a hotel, a gym nearby. You're just always in sportswear, meaning you're in sportswear all day long. If, for example, you take Russia, yes, it's winter now, you're dressed up, you need to get to a gym somewhere, and, well, you have to do more manipulations there.